So let's begin with usual meditations for a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
당가도 딩엘라니 진짜대 니 돈이 시비 같게 돼서요. 아니 팀제다 딩엘라 돈이 고대지시 단두디 슈어레스.
So in last week teaching, so we as to the topic of this the text. So we're up to the subject matter on emptiness, and at that teaching, so I gave a brief explanation on the emptiness.
단디나에 단네 말대지 고대원라고 지단 도두두지 네 저 콘타다나시 네 메시지 있으러와.
So I will continue further on the same subject to very condensed but as easily understandable as possible.
다대 주고야 진짜 그러잖아. 다 동만이 또 비셔라 생이때 배 할래지 개치 모시고지 이래대요래. 아니 다 조배 수지지 공부 더 세가나다 타와 더 세나다. 어다 때문에 아니 타와 아니 조배 수지지 공부 더 왔더니 이래대요래서.
So this topic on the emptiness is paramount, important because it is to in order to achieve the state of liberation from cyclic existence, or to achieve the complete enlightenment. So is depend upon this the understanding of this this emptiness, and so without understanding of the emptiness, so it is impossible to achieve this liberation or complete enlightenment.
제장안에 다 주비 수지지 공부터 발라 아니 너 샤노칼 보고는 슈발나고 야진라고 하시는지 돈이 또 비셔라대 당시 야진라고 돼 아니 쇼주지 산다고 하지 저도요 그래서
so just as the a bird need two wings to be able to to fly in the sky, so likewise we need this the skillful means and the wisdoms. So the skillful means is the bodhicitta, and the wisdom is the realization of emptiness. So we need that to in order to reach the state of complete enlightenment.
아니 타와자 토발라야 아니 따뜻메트 무리와레 가리사나 아니 타와 토발라 돈스 뽕 그래 돈스 토발라 네 뽕발라니 도메토 비셔라 그래 대인자니 도메토 비셔라면은 돈즈라 소파 뽕딱 말아봐 대인자니 타와 토발라 신다 개치 모시차 돼요 그래서
so even to achieve the state of liberations, from cyclic existence, one must gain this realization of emptiness or the selflessness, because one must abandon or eliminate the self-graspings, and this self-grasping, elimination of self-grasping is only possible through by these realizations of emptiness.
어때니 다티 제 말에 가서 타와도 도지 제마도 발도 다 고임바체 아니 디마제 아니 콜라타 시동 그런 tumba니 공원에 시 차오래 아니 지진바지 또 맡아나요 아니 때라 텐선도 아니 고아나 이걸 내서나요 아니 센디가 아니 가르쳐 그랬다 문제 비가 아무 소소를 두가 땡이 대쳐다 아니 니모 뒤에서 봐 아니 저쪽 니빠 추르 돈에니 에 가르쳐는데 대화야 보는 거 해서레스 센들래요
So since this view of emptiness is very subtle, and so it is not, it is very difficult to gain the full realization of it. However, it is said that even if one gain just a vague, understanding of the view of emptiness, not only just understanding, even one have some, contemplate on this meaning of emptiness, and one have gained some sort of understanding, even with some sort of doubt on that view. Even you have that, you gain such understanding with a doubt. It is said that there's a tremendous benefit for one, not only in long run in terms of achieving the liberation or the complete enlightenment, but even in a short-term period, this has a very beneficial in terms of the diminishing the force of afflictive emotions such as desires, the angers, jealousies, and so forth, and so therefore how when we are able to diminish these any form of these afflictive emotions, so then we will find more peace and happiness in our life.
Nisma tezo matana tishu shunda waji ani lolo kombana pena andi yemato bala sopa jichela tene shure roni ngine mato waris tandiger chanepi sono tonta wa yinaya ani sende da shimara jala ne penga yapada ta sheu tamba kono nyonyo yenge tano ani tani sujon dus
and there's the early master even said that even if you are understanding of this view of emptiness is not directly related to the meaning of the emptiness itself, but it is something which is heading towards that understanding of the emptiness, such as your understanding, understanding of that the fact that how things depends on the causes and conditions, and also your understanding or the awareness of that how the impermanent the nature of the things. So it is said that all these understandings of impermanence or the cause and effect, which has which are the means which enable one to get one to closer towards the understanding of the emptiness, say that even such understanding have will also have brings a great benefits for one's.
Wana ani sheu tomba ta si sundu sena chitone mombori te ina ta tinu nela ji sejina wo chi chuna ni popala open popala ga ni jaba le kar su yon sena sono chungi gi chindla tenso sawa yu manjas tenso sawa zonchi ki spa sho che panjaros otni su yon des
sunam chungu salas dik
sono chunga sono chungi 다 구조 세노 충것도 노예라봐.
No.
된 저거네 친들라. 텐소 사고 말했어.
No.
계시 텐소이 사와이나 아니 다 가르쳐 가는 거지. 고월 수술 등가 땡이 같소. 마슈 줄 땅터에 오래서 대신 거.
텐소 사와상 그 소라게.
텐소 사와 쪼지 기스. 되지면다.
No. Okay, lost. So the relating to this the benefit of gaining understanding of emptiness. So if I quote the text by Arya Devas, the 400 verses, so which says that even those being with a small marriage, who gained the understanding of these dharmas, this truth, which is the truth of this of suchness or the emptiness, with an element of a bit of like a doubt. It says that then still the such understanding is such a powerful enough to destroy this cyclic, the wheel of life, this cyclic existence.
제장가 다 디텐도데 바지레서 디텐도데 아니 다세노 중에 그면 저거네 돈을 텐서 좀 있어가 말했어. 아니 계시 텐서 사와이나 아니 다 챈들 등아 되지. 아니 니모 뒤살라소바 아니 바 추르도네. 아니 동거랬더니 다 이대요래스네. 어떤 식으로다.
So this verse from the 400 verses, so where it is implied that those with a small marriage, even for them, even it's difficult to gain the understanding with a doubt, with the element of doubt of this the meaning of emptiness, and then however even if they manage to gain such understanding of the emptiness with a doubt, and then it is implied that the benefit is that to them is that this has the by the power of such understanding, this has the can like a shake or can destroy the cyclic existence.
대나지니 제송가 받침비가 자식들제노를 가르쳐주세나 아니 다 녀글라서 봐 아니 지체라 띠파 아니 소소금 통하다 아니 티파다 아니 소소금 자연소나 지체 될라 때네 아니 다 녀가 때냐 로지 메파리 som비 같으니 살라 요네 요도 아니 콤바셔와이나 아니 챈될 때니 콤바셔와이나 체라지엔다 아니 동반냐 니스 소소를 지행이지 마시나요 시대 때네 떠바리스네 땡주시에 봐 좀지고 네 돈이 가네 드니 그 보초세 발라 때네 아니 다 동반이 될 라오는 거네 고용 거래서 배나 때마다 전에 샤주이 가슬라 포파 따터지 아니 그때지 녀와 절라네 뎀바 시근 노조 땜바 좀지고 근데지 녀와 자가 되고 아니 대코나냐 또봐 대노지레스네 아니 지속하 받지 비수용도 있어.
So there's also the statement by the great Geshe Losang in his the commentary to the fundamental wisdoms of the middle way. So where in that text the commentary the Tsongkhapa said that that those who who simply kind of remember that how because the things are or remembering that the things are absent or are lacking inherent existence, by because they are for things such as how the sprout, the arising of sprout is depends upon the cause and the conditions, and so just by understanding that, even to seeing, seeing that is a sprout is depends upon the cause and condition, or to hearing about that, or to remembering that the fact that that the sprout, for example, the sprout is dependent on the causes and conditions. So by remembering this, if you could recall to yourself that the sprout is that thing is lacking inherent existence, if you remind that, every time, in a sense that whenever you see things which are depends on the causes and conditions, so because they are depends on causes and conditions, if you are able to remind yourself that is the sign, that is the reason that that thing is lacking inherent existence. So Tsongkhapa said that if you do that, then it is possible that in a future life, then simply the observing that the dependent originations or the cause and effect of the things, then you will be this would the force of that observations of the dependent originations would kind of instill or which activate your past propensities of the knowledge of the emptiness, and through that you'll be able to understand that. So there's also a story in the Tsongkhapa also caught in that same text commentary that where now in Tibetan there's the great realized being called Tatul, who simply by giving teaching on Four Noble Truths to his student by name by giving the teaching on Four Noble Truths, and that he was able to gain the realization of emptiness.
Tate ngine ngatuti ngine injiri songdu kain senata ripa nonji ripa yapo yedingi mun jipa chichoni ndechi lewa ina ane chi tela chi nga koma nyungi chi shewa ina ya koni ni kodala chewa ndewa kodala kashi yapo kodingi kashi yapo koma tongi tani ndewa tata so ne shewa ngame ko pocho do shewa ngama tani lewa jane jinse she na mato ne jinse she matongi tani chade yoro was
we can also observe that how when people hear about a certain teachings, then there are some people who can certainly that particular teaching would make a great sense, and they could understand the meaning very clearly, whereas some other who find it very difficult, and so this difference of the why some can understand easily, some are not able to understand easily, so must got something to do with their the past life, the familiarity with the teachings, and whether or not they have the past life, the propensities of the past life, the learning on the same topics.
Ta hatang mal di jale selo le sadami mo sije tuni tombi sije diga kare sujori sena chitoche yewares ta yetse kanere segyo na yetse te tupe topa zonjiri mato rungin chogyo mares den oji go tupe to zochi ne tonge go tupa khoroyo ane kechi ngashel chashel ko kawato ane ta pachi zeche waina khoroyoni rongene matapa dema matapi tni ngo re de yore esne ane kazuti kumatsi je de tni so yore es.
So now going back to the a verse which I think was 22, which we studied last week, so where we discussed about how things are lacking inherent existence, So which is the that's the meaning of the emptiness of that thing. And so by saying that things are lacking emptiness, then it is not saying that thing do not exist, are relatively. And then there's a question: if things do exist, then how do they exist? Then it says that the way the thing exists, there must be just simply by the designation, by the thought, conceptual thought, and merely or by simply as a designated by simply like merely labeled, and then not only that, then if you check even the conceptual thought which designate the thing, even that thought itself is also do not exist from its own side or inherently. So therefore, when we examine, then that thought which designate the things to exist, they themselves, the thought itself also, the way that the thought exists is also merely designated.
Chitoche gati tuni yore, sedizala chitoche demba mataba, dagaron chitoche tuni chade yore. Pena chuchen rawoji chachana, chuche demba mepa, rungine mataba, dagaron ne chuche nelu don, chuche chini chade yore mato, tele jembaji ne tuni se chini se ne yo mares.
So when we talk about the emptiness of phenomena or of things, such as the emptiness of this a table, so it refers to the tables being empty of like say true existence or inherent existence. So that is the emptiness or the suchness of the table.
Cheta pena chuche rawojina chuche te trapa zonji ko demba mepi ko ngo trade yores. Mato ani demba chone de pe jesla ko demba mepi ngo chawa do tingal demba tripi ngo tunji ke chamares. Ani pena tanda zomalita Tsering chalo sabana zoyungurwa. Ten uji rede yo mare. Ngumane ta kora trazo nine ni demba mepi ngore. Demba tone degata te demba mepi ngozi. Tendi demba mepa la kombala tene ani tawado toje chema toge zine ni ngazolti talonti te shanju ire mato. Ani nguma demba trapare tijil demba mepa re se tendi ke chamare hes.
And all the things, from the moment they come into being or come into existence, they are empty of this, the inherent existence. So that is the when we talk about the emptiness, so it is the way thing is, the way thing exists. So it is not that the case that when Lord Buddha came and when he presented the view of the emptiness, that then only from that onward, after that, then the things become the reality of things then become like a emptiness. It's not that case, it's not like a case where the emptiness is not like something which is invented by someone. So, like how with the modern like a scientist can through their innovation skill, they can produce so many new things, new products. So it is, of course, this is not like that, and rather the emptiness just represents the realities, the way things are.
Pena ni ta pena chosen di ngo demba mata pare singi tal ta ngo singi te karshi gore sena ngo singi te korok ruji she gore pena chosen de shin ruji re de ore te jijela tipi ruji re de ore o jijela tipi go ne ngo cha de gore es o ne ngo singi te ndi korok ngo koyin ba de di ke cha she de gore es.
So, in a way, the emptiness also represents the nature, the identity of that of things. You know, for example, if we the table, so the fact that the table is lacking inherent existence. That so therefore the emptiness is the emptiness of inherent existence. So it's become like the nature, become like the reality of that of the table. Just as we can also observe there's some other nature, the reality of the table, such as table is subject to changes, like it's an impermanence, and so the impermanence is also the reality or the nature of the table.
Tenajigani chochene motopi ngore deyore, kechimi ngore deyore. Tenzani ta ko chozonyene ti ngote ne deyore. Chozony ngati pa tonul tawaina chochede chozonyene ni ta parol dawa khashijin ro sare te chingi bacha. Ane tijene lo khashijin ne bacha. Tani go pa tonuna tani yore mato ne Tris choche sabaji krele sona te tagaro sonil ta itere kachute nojin macho ton de gore inele ko ne kechi nji de gore te nji wa te ngachi mishi ton tago mares.
So everything's have the moment they come into beings, so they have something is constitute of some nature of some realities, such as as we're saying, this table is impermanent, is a reality, is the nature of the table. For instance, so the impermanence is kind of is being the nature of table from the moment that table come into being, and also the moment that table come into being, it is impermanent, and so therefore it is it changes from moment by moment, and that is the nature, that's the realities. And now however the way the table appear to our like a visual side, it can be different. Where in our visual side, sometimes if it's something, when we table is brand new today, and also when we look at the same table tomorrow, we will look exactly the same table. We probably won't notice any difference. So, however, that doesn't mean that from the yesterday from the today, the table hasn't gone through any changes. But in fact, the changes takes they are from a moment to moment, but just that. However, to our visual side, or to our conceptual mind. So, but however, we cannot observe, we cannot see that, recognize that the moment-to-moment changes in the with the table. Also.
대운지 제relani 제세 까마 다 까춘 다 디노네라니 깨지 참아서 피츠로 이테를 아니 깨지 좀 되와 닌지 되어서 근데 깨지 참아텔라니 다 못aba 참어세네시 아니 주주네 드네 시거래서 봐.
So when we talk about the subtle, the impermanence, then we have to talk about the most subtle moment of change, subtle instance of the moment of change. So, like as you can see, there could be the moment we can define the moment in terms of an hour, then in terms of minutes, and then even the minute can be second, number of seconds, and then the single second can be break into so many very subtle units. So when we talk about the subtle impermanent, and then we're talking about the most subtle unit of the time, that which and in that what is saying that the change taking place, a moment-to-moment change, happens even in that most subtle units of time.
제정아 니 조제데 트바 좀니네 끼끼끼끼 지비고 뭐 트바 된 나지가 아니 코 트바 좀지 아니 코로 넬린 타투 데베 동아 코랑이네 마토와지 지쟁이네 바니 지체라 때네 아니 든지지고 뭐지 그저데 거래 대인사니 다 주제 딘 돈이 세난다 주제 데마만다 바세난다 된다와데 아니 주제 그 친여 생에데 주제 딜러니 다 가이지도 포화져왔다 그래 말에 어째 코라고 뭐 그런 게 지시고 그래서
So as said before, the everything such as this table, has the nature of being empty, empty of this of being empty of true existence. So it's the reflects the reality or the truth of that the table, the moment that table come into being, and so so because of that, the table, the way table exists is simply depending on the different other factors like the causes and conditions. So it lacks the existence from its own side. So which means it doesn't exist truly or doesn't exist inherently, and so this emptiness of inherent the existence, so is what we call it the suchness or the way the table exists in ultimate sense. So it's not like the emptiness and the emptiness of the table and the table are not like two items, two separate items which that we can place one item there on top of the other. They're not like that. They always almost like blended together.
Pena 제자다 ngazo 네 다 조제세난다 고조세난다 ngazo 가르는 거요 그래서나 논지 두피 떠발아 마테파 코로롱이네지 노데 접바다 오지 노데 거래 대 접바다 노데 노아테 nga지 하고요래라나 nga지가 점점이 다 콘도 슈치 몰로메 내가스다 아니지 가르세그다 지토 슈치 모슈가 내가서 드니지 내가서 nga생에데 비 핀보다 세니 그 티플랄 비치 데질 모예메나지 에 그게 코롱에는 치트라바다 오지 노데 그거라와 디그 노와데 디 이토슈 내가다 콘도 치우치몰로 내가슬 지 스네 대와이나 수솔로 노와데 하고여마도 노지 노와이나 노와데 당에서 대고 하고게 있지 말에서 하고 말이지.
So whether we detect in as an example of like ourself, or we take an example of like a table, some external object like things like a table. So whatever object we take, so the reality is that nothing exists by themselves or in its own right or inherently, and so everything is dependent. The way the thing exists is only by depending on others, not by themselves, and but yet it is fact that where the thing appear to our mind, our conceptual thought, so then it can appear as if it exists from its own side. Like when we think of ourselves, we would our person would appear. Ourself will exist as if it by itself, by its own self, rather than depending on the aggregate of the body or the consciousness and so forth. So there is no questions that whatever the things, object that appear to our mind, that object gives some sort of, to our mind, gives some sort of notion of inherent existence, and but yet, even though it gives that notion, but still we in a normally or in a everyday our experience, we still don't clearly recognize this inherent existence. Inherent existence. What is that inherent existence? That, for example, as we talked about that last time, that how the person, ourselves, exists, we would appear to our mind as having an inherent existence, but yet we cannot really recognize clearly that how that person exists independently, how it appear to, how it seems to have the existence, seems to have an independent existence. We don't have the clear pictures. But however, if we if we observe, if we investigate, examine in a situation, in a event where we have a strong feeling of like emotions, such as strong arising of hatred, or there's a strong sense of fear, fear or that which we face due to certain threat to our life. So in such events of a high emotions, then if where we experience a strong sense of I or the strong sense of that ego, so at that moment, if we examine, if we observe, then we can really see that how it becomes that picture that in that the way I appear to us, which is as if it has exists inherently or independently from our body, mind, and the body. So likewise, in those kind of such a strong emotion, in those events of the emotion experience, so we can get a vivid picture of this inherently existent I loss.
Telatni shidong ngacho dedu nyungke sen, 저와 dedu nyungke kuzo ji jog gore. Tenri go kuzo te ta 구조티 그 리테랭도 센테랭 소소지 생서 소소 튀와이나 다장 맞돌라 로는 후원노지 베나 메토지 미그 메토지 통화 디체 니 메토 통슈이세 네 수수그 로라트니 샤고라와 대노지 소소 스포트에서 나소나 ngan na shu yin ba shi so so ya semba shi bo mun de na nga shi bo mun de se ji de li du se ni ka ni go ta zpo na su na ngan na shu se ma shi ba na nga shi bo mun de se ji lo cha ge yo de ina yo ni li de do di ne ka se ni ge se de nga yin so ba ji lo cha ge yo ma res
So let's take a the look at our experience of ourself as a person who as a subject, or who who experience pain and pleasures. And so how, if we examine how does this self of the person exist, and for example, when in our experience of for example, when we are sick, we will, when our body is sick, we will say, I am sick. Likewise, if we are mentally, if you are unhappy or disturbed, then we will say, I am unhappy. And likewise, if we perceive a beautiful flower, then we will say, I see a beautiful flowers. And so when we say this, when we think of that, I see flower, I am happy or not, and so on, that gives some sort of notion that where we are not identifying the I, all those objects, like our mind, our body, and so forth, as an I itself. So it gives some sort of notions when we say that these things that the I and what I experience are something are separate entities.
제장아 맞지 ngai li silna ngai sense ne keje shi suppose keje shi disanayo ni da lidong sela ni dapo jangi shi sulu ni telo uji shengi shi ni sulu ji da tni ji yewa tne lola chadi go ta te nga so nyue to gro ni se ni li si disal ji sen do li dapo jangi shi yewa te sulu ye bi ko hwana ji tni ta legdo.
So in a context when we say, my body and my mind, so we get a notion as if that I is like as if like the owner of the the mind and the body. So as if the I is something separate, completely separate from, as a completely different entity, from the mind, from your mind and the body.
제정아 다 나초가 딘디거니 다 노데야스 그랬다 다포 장이테 미사니 다 소소소라 오지 셰딩이 나데 미사가 소소로 노 노지 예 말다 간데스 요르잖아 아니 리두셀라 추발테니 파 토픽 뭐지 예데오레스 추발한테는 파토비 뭐지 예를 마토스 제비가 그런 거 오지 챙기지 그런 인에 치러 저등에 드리지요 말했어.
So although the we get a notion as if the I is something as separate from from our mind and the body, and separate entity, and which is the we experience as if that I is like, or rather the owner or the possessor of our mind and the body. So something separate from the mind and the body, and but however, if you examine, is it possible for I to have such an existence? Then of course it is not possible for I to have such existence, outside or independent from the from our mind and the body. So therefore, this means that the I as an existence, it must be something which is dependent upon. Its existence is dependent upon our mind and the body. It can't, we cannot locate or nor can this I can exist totally independent from our mind and the body.
Kesi ta ngachola ni ngasingete ngasigo litel ta uji chingi da dabu chingi ji sle pa no ji 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 ye sona te ye ton te kanjre de lil teng du tem du di du ji re du ta de re de tndi zo ne pa jewa zo ji res.
So this we need to examine, how this our I or the self, how the I exists, and so as we've discussed before, this in our experience, we get a notion that as if that I exists, the separate from our our part of our self, like our mind and our body, and also sometimes it gives us a notion as if the I is like this, we said before, as is like the owner or the controller of the mind and body, or like the possessor of the mind and body, and then if we analyze the how I exist, then we can clearly see that I is dependent on. It cannot exist, can't have an existence independent from the mind and body. So therefore, its existence is dependent upon mind and body. And then furthermore, if that's the case, then what sort of relationship that could I have with the mind and body? Whether I can exist as a one with the, or I one with, or is it I is same as the mind and body itself, or we got to consider the option of whether I can be something separate, something different, from the mind and body. Those.
Pena ne chuchende to chepares chuchendel tini ta kumba shida ne tani ji to kaya da tani ga chasu ji chung zala tela choche sene pa tani ji ja zala ne kota choche ngo cha ki choche le ka chasu je yung go res ne tel tani ma ja yin heda ko chuche re de yo mare o ki ta choche ga shawa chi ge marwa 지지나 텔라 네 그저세 타니지 또에는 그저 샤와시 그러마도 아니 조제 샤와시 그러마 대노지 제대로서 가서 또뼈가 파도와 대노지 거라원이네라 다 지저바 면아요 거라고 디 샤와데 자수 셰데 그거다 가서 민노지가 다 지스크 다 시도 네 대두용계 구조지 요래잖아. 다 되게 잘해.
So likewise, if we, this table, which when we think of table is something which has a specific functions, specific purpose, and specific shape. It should have with a leg and in the top to place the top of the table to place things on. So when for a particular all these things are put together, specific shape and with a specific purpose, then we label it as that is a table. And then not only we label, then it does function. It can the object can function or can be used as a table. So whereas after we have made that particular object, if because of the way we design and the purpose for which we design, if we called it something else like a chair, then that particular thing then will function as a chair. So it's all we can see. It is all like a nominal relatives. How the way the table exists and what is the functions and it's all the relative, and simply we exist as something which is merely designated upon that particular objects because of a certain parts and its the functions of that thing.
지다 차파레 가서 지다 되지. 너나 이 마시는 다 시다 텔레라지 시다 돼야지 문제로. 드니지.
So the topic that we are discussing is a very difficult topic, and I hope I'm not making it more while trying to make it simpler, but not making it more confusing.
Deta 당기게 시험노지리 차송마지야 보시고 맞나요? 수술 텐성이 또 시에서나요? 될라 때네니 니 다지 양지 수술 제대로 대시리 치마가 대시리 주지 유아요레스.
But however we found in some quotations, so where it says, even if we gain a doubtful understanding of the meaning of emptiness, we found out there's a great benefits.
제가 다 원하니 돈이 세그러다 때들 하고 소난다 될 텐소시 소난다 드니지 셀 건디 태소나 아니 센디가 아니 다 내쳐다 컨트롤할 수 없어 줄 간데서 로고요 그랬으네 드니지 시에고이나 네디 원이밀라니 시제드니가 디콜 시에근디 있어
So what we find in the next few verses is also the related to what we have discussed here. So in this our discussion, so we said that of course if we gain a true understanding of emptiness, of course it is of great benefit. But even gaining a doubtful understanding of emptiness, it says that there's a great benefits, a lot of benefits, and so therefore the next the subsequent verses it talks about what sort of benefits we can derived from such a even a vague or a very doubtful understanding of this the view of emptiness, particularly the benefit in terms of overcoming or diminishing the strong the attachment and anger and so forth.
Dana ne da konda jitsonga be suwa naji pena nga so mal cha cha wa ina ya nga chu sono to de nga cho ya ne je tu che la yen la te ne shu wa re tombo shidi ka sel ne amal to ne chinzon da ne ya le zire to chinze do ne ja ga di te ne tro wa ri ma to so so ngi ne to ne so te ya yo ma re so so no wa shi tni ji ga sa la ne kondi she to ina ne
even as like a very the knowledge that which we can derive from our common sense, such as how we when we come into this world, by depending on our parent who gave birth, and then afterward as we grow up, how we are then depending upon the neighbors and upon the friends and upon the societies, upon the countries, and somehow there's a clear indication that how our life is very much this survival and our existence, how it is so much dependent on so many other people and other factors. So this, even to be aware of such the truth of the dependencies of our life is also very beneficial. So I think we'll leave tonight's teaching and we'll continue from next week.
Shonju Senjo Rambo Che Maje Pano Cheja Shewa Nyamba Mepai Kune Kunda Pewa